Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dominique Davis, also known as Brown and Bendy, and here on this channel we practice flexibility of the mind, the body, and the spirit. Thank you for joining me today. If you are into this channel, if you're a gang, go ahead and sign up for our newsletter. The newsletter is in the description box. Today's video is going to be about community and why it is important to maintain real life in-person relationships with people. I think that the panini really did a number on us, and there is so much that we don't really talk about or that we have not worked through. And I really want to look into and dissect how our relationships with other people are starting to fall apart. They're starting to fall away. And there is so much importance in real physical human community. I know a lot of us have gotten so used to being a part of online communities, and our online communities are really important because we can nurture our interest and the people who align with our beliefs and our viewpoints. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Community are like-minded people. But when it's online community, it's so easy to say, you don't agree with me, you don't align with the way I see life, let's just not interact. And it's a lot harder to do that in real life. So today I want to talk about the importance of having in-person relationships and how having in-person relationships solely depends on how you feel about yourself. And when you have a good understanding of how you feel about yourself, that can create a better understanding of how to have a community filled with diverse individuals who bring the best out of you and help you develop better as a person. The number one reason I think that we shy away from community is because we project our insecurities onto other people. If you think that no one likes you, there is a very good chance that you have all these ideas in your mind where you can identify what other people will not like about you before you even give them a chance to get to know you. A lot of times when we think that people don't like us, it's because we really don't like ourselves, or there are a lot of parts of ourselves that we do not like. When we are Look, this is coming from someone who really used to struggle and suffer with social anxiety. So when I say that I used to live in a world where I thought that everyone was tearing me apart, I mean that from my core, okay? Like, life was stressful. So if you've been there, just know I relate. I get it. I get you. But not only is that such a stressful way to live, it's falling into an illusion, because I don't know if you've ever heard anyone say this, but no one is thinking about you. No one is thinking about you that much. All the time we spend being so critical of ourselves and overanalyzing ourselves and overanalyzing our faults, no one else is doing that. No one else is doing that because people are doing that to themselves, okay? Don't get me wrong, people will criticize you, people will maybe say something rude or not great to you, but unless they have a mental disorder, no one is sitting in their room ruminating about your faults. Okay. So with all that being said, a lot of times we fall into this illusion and it's subconscious. It's not even conscious. We don't consciously say, oh, there are all these things I don't like about myself and everybody else notices them. We don't consciously say that. Subconsciously, we identify the things that we don't like about ourselves and we start to separate from other people because we want to protect ourselves, that fight or flight. We want to protect ourselves from pain. We want to protect ourselves from embarrassment. We want to protect ourselves from all of that. And that becomes easier when we just isolate. But isolation is never the answer. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Before we talk about isolation, I want to talk about unconditional love. This idea of loving people in a way where they don't have to agree with you and you don't even have to be compatible with them in order for you to love them. Brown and Bendy is built on love, baby. I love Jesus. Jesus is a big part of my belief system. Before I was Christian, this channel was built on love, loving everybody, okay? It does not matter. Background, socioeconomic status, race, gender, any of that. None of that matters. Love people, right? So when it comes to loving people conditionally, it's really important to know whether you only love yourself conditionally. And that's when we start to get into perfectionism. Do we only love ourselves when we are performing in ways that we deem worthy of love? When we learn how to love ourselves, even though we may not be showing up in the way that is ideal to our ego, when we learn to love ourselves anyway, our capacity to love others unconditionally increases. Love is a feeling that comes from your heart. Love is a softness, a warmth that we feel towards other humans, an empathy, a compassion. Articulating love can be so difficult at times because it is such a feeling, right? But that being said, loving people should not be confused with forcing compatibility or abandoning boundaries. There are a lot of people in my life that I am not compatible with. If I am in a room with them for too long, we will argue. We will not get along. Both of our nervous systems will be freaking out because we are not compatible, right? Those people may get under my skin. They might know how to push my buttons. They might know how to make me sweat. But I have learned that I still must love them because conditional love is not it. Only loving people when you agree with them or when they make you happy, when they perform in ways that bring you what you think is joy, that's toxic. We must learn to love people no matter how they show up. That being said, that does not mean I have to be in rooms with these people. That does not mean that I have to volunteer to spend time with these people. Oh no. And then when it comes to boundaries, just because we love people, including family, right? Just because we love people does not mean that they are allowed to walk all over us. And depending on their character and who they are, it doesn't mean that we even have to allow them near us. Love is a feeling, right? So when you think about the person that you may be incompatible with, or when you think about the person that you might just not want around, can you soften your heart and allow yourself to love them even though they are not showing up the way that you want? Doing that will help you strengthen. It's like a muscle. It'll strengthen your compassion muscle and you will learn to be more compassionate for yourself. All this to say, I encourage you to sit with yourself and really identify whether there are actions that you can be taking in your life that will encourage you to love yourself more. Because a lot of times, because of mental health disorders, we can lean into behaviors that do not align with how we would ideally like to see ourselves. For example, making the bed. I learned a long time ago if my bed is not made by the end of the day, I got something going on. I got something going on up here. So I always make my bed. Ask yourself, are you washing your dishes? Are you showering every day? We're not having the do you need to shower every day conversation. I love you no matter what your preference is, but we're not having that conversation over here. Are you showering every day? Are you maintaining your physical body, going for walks, touching some grass? Are you doing things that are a reflection of how much you love yourself? And it's okay if you're not. You should still love yourself even if you're not. But are there any actions that you have the capacity to take that will increase how you love yourself? For example, even how you dress, how you do your hair, um, yeah, just there's a whole medley of things when we sit back and look at our character that can help us understand, hey, maybe if I nurtured this part of myself, or maybe if I poured into myself this way, I would be able to see myself manifest an internal desire that of how I would like to show up in the world, right? Because a lot of times we want to show up one way and we don't fully recognize what's in our power to help us show up in that way. It's never outside of ourselves, it's always within ourselves, and it's always personal action. So taking the time to ask yourself, is there anything different that I could be doing that will give me more inspiration towards loving myself and loving who I am, becoming a person that I will like? Because the whole idea of this video was came from the understanding that in order for other people to like you have to like yourself. Are you a person who likes themselves? Do you like who you are? So is there anything else that you can do to be a person that you would like? Isolation is not the answer. If there's anyone who's watching this video who has not been in a social situation, in a social environment in a while, I encourage you to find an excuse to socialize with somebody. And I don't mean work. It can be. I mean, we socialize at work, but I prefer for it to be by choice. So finding opportunities to increase and expand your community. This is so important because we cannot expand as humans. One, we have a physical longing for human connection, right? We cannot isolate ourselves or our mental health will deteriorate. And not even just that, not only will our mental health deteriorate, but a lot of times when we isolate ourselves or even stick to our online communities, we get stuck in echo chambers and we start to think that the way we see the world is the only way that we should see the world. And that is not healthy. So making sure that we are finding opportunities to socialize and expand our social circles, because expanding our social circles is the only way for us ourselves to expand, because we meet other people with other perceptions who live differently than us, who have different ideas of how the world works. And you don't know everything. I don't know everything. And by having conversations with people from all backgrounds, there are going to be some things that other people say that inspire you to expand and grow and learn and better become the person you were always meant to be. That does not come from just sitting by ourselves. When we don't socialize, we don't put ourselves in situations where our ability to love is challenged. Okay? Because whether your capacity to love is the same for yourself and other people. You can't love other people more than you love yourself. You can't love yourself more than you love other people. It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. So when we do not socialize, we do not give ourselves the opportunity to expand how much we can love. And a lot of people really think that they love themselves, but they're isolated. So they're telling themselves this story: I love myself, I have high self esteem, I'm the best, but they don't like other people. But when that's exposed by conflict, that's exposed by hard conversations, all of that comes to light when people are interacting with one another. Our insecurities bubble up when we are having conversations with other people, when we're in environments with other humans. When we're not in those situations, our insecurities stay right where they are, comfy cozy, deep down in the confines of our subconscious. So instead of living in this illusion where we isolate ourselves and say, "Oh, I love myself because I'm the only person I see in the mirror. I'm the only person I hear in my head. I love myself." Instead of doing that, can we allow ourselves to expand our circle, possibly have conflict with someone, possibly disagree with someone, practice still loving them anyway, and see how that increases our own love of ourselves? Because again, going back to perfectionism, a lot of us, we isolate ourselves because our expectations for other people to be perfect is what separates us, because we don't want that disappointment. We don't want people to have the nerve to show us their true selves. But when we learn to have the capacity to see others for who they truly are and still love them, oh, that's the type of person I want to be. That is the type of person I want to be. I always want to be a person where I can hold space for others and allow them to feel safe being exactly who they are. I will always be very loud about my beliefs. I will always be very loud about my perspective, but I do hope that I am projecting myself in a way where I'm loud about my perspective and my views, and I encourage you to be too, because my perspectives and my views I see as having the same level of importance as your perspective and your views. No one's more important. No one is more important. We are all on the same playing field, okay? Jesus died for all of us. All right, so let's say I got you fired up. Let's say you're like, Dom, you're right. I'm tired. I'm tired of being alone. I am tired of running away from the world. I want people. I want people in my life. Man, there are great ways to find people. My first suggestion, if you really, really, really want to challenge yourself, is going to be joining a church. Your first church will not be your forever church. And if it is, you better praise God because that is a blessing, okay? You might have to date a few churches to find a pastor and a church family that aligns with how you see the world. I'll put a timestamp if church is just not it for you and you're just like, this conversation is not for me. I'll put a timestamp. But find a church date. And when you find the church that you're like, I want to commit to this one, join it. Still though, still, you will still have moments where you say to yourself, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this with these people. Because church is so many people that there are so many different opinions, there are so many different perspectives, and there are so many different levels of maturity. Woo! So, all this being said, if you're really trying to go for it with this love thing, I really think joining a church is it because you will be challenged, but you will also be in a place where love is prioritized. And if you're not, that's not a church. So, despite whether everyone agrees and whether everyone aligns, it's still a house of love. So everyone doesn't have to agree and everyone doesn't have to align. And it's an amazing practice of showing up over and over again, even though you might be uncomfortable, even though people might not see life the way that you do. Still learning how to love them. And it's so fulfilling. The relationships you'll make from that place of, I'm here to love you, I'm here to love God, and I'm here to love my community. There's nothing like it. So that would be my first suggestion. My other suggestions would be bookstores are a great place to meet people. Coffee shops are a great place to meet people. Do not go to a coffee shop with me because I eavesdrop. If I hear people talking about something I think is interesting, I go and I squat at their table. Hi, I'm Dominique. How are you? I heard you talking. So don't go out with me if you don't want me to embarrass you. Um, I said bookstores, coffee shops. Man, there are Facebook groups now. There are like community Facebook groups. You'll hear about everything happening in your community. Join a community Facebook group and then actually go to the stuff that people post about. What else? I'm missing one, and it's important. Meetup.com. Also very awesome. Yeah. So when you put yourself in situations to be loved, you should expect that at times people may be offended by your ability to love them no matter how they show up. And maybe they're just offended by some other part of you. Maybe they're just not in a good mood. But when we learn to love people and expand our communities despite everyone in our community not being just like us, we become so capable of being strong minded people with strong foundations that are not thrown to and fro by emotion. When you build that quality, your ability to be your authentic self will just blossom. A lot of us, we want friends, we want community, but the second we get in rooms with other people, we put a mask on. And it's no good. It's no good. If you're not authentic, you will not attract authentic friendships. You have to be who you really are in order to attract people who love you for you. It's not rocket science, but we tend to want to hide ourselves again from what we said earlier because we don't want people to be offended by who we are. We don't want to be hurt. We don't want to have people disagree with us. It's scary. It's scary. But the more we show up as our authentic selves, the more that it's like shining a light. It's like a Batman signal to all the other nerds. I'm speaking for myself, okay, because I'm the biggest nerd. But it's like a Batman symbol to all the other people who are like you, and it's just wonderful. I really like the person that I am becoming. I used to be the type of person who would isolate herself. I would always be around just a romantic partner, just one friend, and every time, this one friend would be somebody who agreed with me on everything, who saw life exactly the way that I did, who dressed like me, who looked like me, and it was just a mess. I just wanted a mirror. I just wanted a mirror. So it would be my romantic partner, the one friend, and me. That was my life. No community, no groups of people, just three amigos, okay? And that was so selfish. It was such a selfish way of thinking because I saw myself in the two people I would hang around. Like my partner, I would see myself in, and that one friend I would see myself in. And I would never have to go outside of myself. But now that I'm in a community, I have so much space for the people that I love, and it's genuine, real space. It's genuine, real love because a lot of these people are nothing like me. A lot of these people say things that I would never dream of saying. A lot of these people do things that I will never dream of doing, and that's in a positive way and a way that I don't align with. An example would be a friend of mine has a daughter, and that daughter is having hip surgery. Old Dominique would have heard that and would have just been like, oh, I hope it goes well. Day and go on with my day, go on with my life, nothing else. And this version of myself, this part of my heart that has grown and learned to love and learned to practice empathy, has opened up, and I've learned to think subconsciously in a way where I can say, well, what would I want someone to do for me if my daughter was having surgery? I don't have to consciously think this way anymore. Subconsciously, I move in a way where I try to do for others what I would want for them to do for me. And I'm not saying this to be in my video. I didn't do this for the video, but I think that is a good example and is perfectly appropriate. So her daughter's having hip surgery. Last week, I got her some books that are on her reading list because I love her daughter and her daughter loves true crime and I just think her daughter's awesome. So I got her daughter some books, and I'm going to go to Crumble Cookie and drop off some books and some cookies after her surgery. And I'm so proud of myself. And I know I don't even care. I don't even care that this can be coming off as like, well, why are you talking about it? Because if you do something good for people, you're not supposed to tell anyone. Like, that's fine. I don't care. But I'm so proud of the growth I'm seeing in myself by doing this because I know I used to be the type of person that was like, okay, I hope whatever you're going through works itself out. And then I'd be right focused on my own problems. Now I understand that everybody is going through something. It does not matter if I'm going through a trial. Everyone is going through a trial. Everybody, all the time. And I've learned to stop focusing on myself and my problems so much. And I will say that the more space you hold for the lives of others, the more your community will grow. It does not matter if you're different. It does not matter if you perceive yourself as weird or somebody people will never want to be around or whatever story you're telling yourself. None of that matters. What matters is your ability to love others. Your ability to love others is going to determine how much of a community you can maintain. Oh my goodness. How long have I been talking? A long time. Okay, so I think that's where I'm going to leave you. I feel like that's a lot of food for thought. Go ahead and make sure that you subscribe to the newsletter. It comes out every Wednesday and it's cute. It has my reading list on it and it's a nice little motivational speech, if you will. Yeah. Or if you just want to keep up with Brown and Bendy, we have some exciting things coming up this year, really exciting things. I've never been able to say that before, but I'm treating my business seriously. So we have some exciting things in the works. Okay, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. so other people on YouTube know that it's valuable and that they should watch it. If you would like me to speak about anything specific or to expand on anything that I've talked about, go ahead and leave that in the comments. Last but not least, please make sure that you are subscribed and that you click that notification bell so you, so that you can be notified when I come out with a new video and so that you can see it. Okay. I love you so much. I love you so much. But Jesus loves you more. I'll see you next time. Bye.